Okay, welcome. In this lesson, we're going to look at, managing Oracle instances. These lessons are very important because these are things you are going to actually face every day of your life as a database administrator. You'll be managing instances, managing databases, and basically, instance management is important for startup, okay, shutdown, maintenance, okay. Hold on there. Let me get that to the other side. All right. Okay. All right. So we have these are areas: recovery, restore and recovery. Let's put that restore and recovery. And we're going to discuss this thing in details. We've already established that a database is composed. The database server is composed of an instance and the database. The invisible part of the database server is called the instance, and the instance has got to do with memory structures and processes. Okay, memory structures and processes that make up the instance are required to be able to access the database. The database represents the physical aspect. These are the data written to disk. Without the instance, you cannot access your database. Okay, and basically, a database administrator must be able to identify an instance, must be able to also, start up, shut down, mount, dismount, and perform many operations with the database instance. All these things I'm going to explain in this lecture. Very, very important. First of all, we're going to look at the startup process. What happens when you start up a database? Okay, this is what happens. I'm going to enter in right now. Okay, I hope you can see that here. Probably should make it a bit bigger. Change the fonts to make them a bit bigger. Appearance. Make it 18 so you can see that, alright? So right here we have, I just open a connection to my server. Okay. And with this connection, we're going to, first of all, I'm going to identify all the Oracle data instances that are running right now. So I make a grep, I list all the processes running, and I filter out the PMON process. Remember, when you connect to a database for the first time and you want to know what is running, you connect to a server for the first time, a Linux or Unix server, and you want to know the instances that are running at that time, you can simply run this command ps-eaf, and you filter out with the grep command, filter out the PMON process. Okay, this is one of the fundamental processes of the database. Okay, for a database to be up and running correctly, the PMON process must be running. Now, I'm going to deal today with this server here called DBA Server 1. All right, and I'm going to set the environment to that particular server. I told you it's best practice to save a profile file, to kind of save to a profile file the properties of your database instances. When I install that server, DBA server 1, I saved to a file called .dba server1 underscore profile. I saved the environmental variables. Okay, if I Let me just cut that file so we can see the contents. You notice here that we have some environmental variables that have been defined in that file. Notice here we have the Oracle unique name, DBA server 1, the Oracle base, the Oracle home, the Oracle seed, and also the path. The path has to contain the bin folder or the bin directory under the Oracle home. Okay? If you don't do that, there's no way you can find the Oracle commands that are related to that Oracle home. Okay, so I advise that you always create a file. Now I've entered here. If I want to connect to DBA server 1, I just simply run that file. The dot space, and I run that file. And if I look at my environment, I now have my environment set to that which I want. Let me just, lots of things there. So I just filter out the Oracle part. This Oracle seed, Oracle home, and all of that stuff has been set. So I'm ready to go. Let me clear the screen. All right, now I'm going to connect to my database. When you connect SQL Plus on the local machine where your server is installed, remember, you can connect as sysdba if you have the DBA role, sysdba role. Automatically, I'm connected to that server. I can investigate that by saying select instance name from okay, so you can see I'm connected to this instance. It's very important you know what you are connected to, because at times I've seen people who made mistakes and connected to the wrong database and want to drop the wrong objects. Instead of connecting to a test or a development database, they connected to a production database and they cause damage that cost them their jobs. So you must know what you are doing. See, these things, they look simple, but you must know what you are doing. Connect to the specific database that matters. All right? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to shut down this database. Okay? Because we're going to learn how the process of starting up the database step by step. Okay, while the database is shutting down, let me show you something. I might have to use the shutdown immediate command, but in the meantime, let me quickly rush you through some very important things. Now listen to me. You can manage startup and shutdown of database using these tools here. RMAN, but it is not advised. You use that only when you are doing recovery, when you are doing a recovery or a restore. You understand my point? Or a copy, RMAN copy, or an RMAN operation. But you can still use RMAN to start up and shut down a database instance. Okay? You can also use the Enterprise Manager. If you have your database registered with an Enterprise Cloud Manager, you can use the Enterprise Manager to actually start up and shut down. These are exam questions, so please be attentive. These are exam questions. You can use your Enterprise Manager to start up and to shut down a database instance, okay? You can also use SQL Plus, SQL Star Plus, okay? Which is a native client tool. You can use that to start up, shut down your instance, okay? You can also use, if you have Oracle Restart. Oracle Restart is something we're going to learn later on, okay? All right, and it's just important you understand this basic thing here. 1 minute here. So SQL Plus is very important. Now, like I told you, there's what they call Oracle Restart when you install Grid. I'm going to teach you all of that, but I'm going to show you how to use it in this lesson. But the installation process is something we're going to learn later on. Okay, that is advanced Oracle, and you still need it. I have to be sincere with you. Many of these courses out there don't teach you these things, but I'm telling you what you need, so you don't get into a working environment and get embarrassed. Okay, so you have uh, the server control command from Oracle Restart. If you have Oracle Restart installed, okay, Oracle Restart means that whenever automatically it manages your instance. If you start up you shut down your database, your computer, and start it up, Oracle Restart will automatically start your server for you, and it generally manages the processes for you and ensures that your database is always up and running. Okay, so these are some of the major ways which you can start your instance. We're going to go back right now to the this one is still here. You know why it's still there? The shutdown process at times does not really, I told you it's always good to use instead the shutdown. Let me clear the stuff on me. The shutdown immediate, shutdown immediately terminates the processes and rolls back all transactions in course. But if you just run a shutdown, it waits for everybody to disconnect first and all that kind of stuff. So it's not really advisable to run shutdown alone. Okay, here we go. Now, first of all, these are very important steps, because if you know these steps, you'll be able to manage, disasters when they occur. Remember that a database administrator is a manager, is a disaster manager, okay? Let me just push this stuff here. When you run the startup command, what Oracle does is to inspect the parameters, the Oracle seed, okay? And the Oracle seed and the Oracle home, okay? It inspects these parameters in the variables. Okay. If you don't have any Oracle seed set, Oracle home set, you will run into error because it doesn't know what to start. Okay. Based on what it reads, it now goes into this step 1. Step 2 now, it goes to the Oracle home directory, and it goes under the DBS directory, okay? And it now looks for a file called SP file. Let me just put the Oracle seed. This is the order in which it looks for it. .aura. If it doesn't find this file, it looks for the SP file .aura, okay? This is the order of precedence. Let me just put it here. A, B, C, okay? If it doesn't find that, it now looks for a file called init. All right. Very important to understand this stuff. This is how it goes about looking for the parameter file. It must read the parameter file to start the instance, okay? Because inside the parameter file, you have the definition of the memory structures, the name of the database, the name of the control file, and basic information that is needed to boot your server. Without the file, I repeat, without these files, your database cannot start, okay? You'll be wise to kind of save this file somewhere. With RMAN, you can back up SP files, okay? And you can always copy it somewhere. In case they get corrupted or get lost, you can always restore them. So you can restore the configuration of your database the way it was, okay? Now, the SP file is what they call a server parameter file. It is actually a binary file that is not to be modified manually. Okay, right now, if I go to my Oracle home here, I'm going to change to the Oracle home DBS. As you find the file, the SP file there, okay? Sorry. Let me just clear this stuff here so everybody can see the screen clearly. ls minus lrt. Notice that there's an SP file here, okay? This file, you don't open the file to modify it manually. Rather, you modify the file using the SQL Star Plus utility, okay? You modify it dynamically and not manually. Okay, I can do a cut here. You can just have an idea what is inside. You see the parameters that are already set here, okay? Notice here that you have a parameter called this SGAR target, okay? The SGAR target, SGAR underscore target, and you have the PGA underscore target. Normally, when I start the database, what happens is that Oracle allocates this value, okay, to that instance. I'm going to be locked at this value, which is over 2 gigabytes of memory. I'm going to be locked at that value. I can't go beyond that, okay? And it's very important you understand this stuff when you are tuning tomorrow, or maybe you want to reduce the memory or you want to increase the memory. You have to modify this parameter in the parameter file. Okay, you can see the name of the DB. Okay, you can see the location of the control file. Okay, without this location, there's no way Oracle can open the database. The database cannot be mounted. Okay, so I'm going to show you, go back to the process of booting. You start off, Oracle looks for the Oracle seed in the environment. It looks for the Oracle home, right? After that, it reads the parameter file, okay, the initialization file, which has the parameters needed to boot the instance. Okay, after that, okay, you say start up. That's the startup command. Then now, what does it do? It starts the database server in no mount mode, okay? Okay, based on the memory values in SP file, okay? That's step two. Are we there? SQL plus, startup, no mount. This is the, sorry, startup, no mount, okay. What it does here, the database is not open, it only just allocates the memory structure. Remember what we read? We read this value as the SGAR target. Okay, so automatically it allocates that value. Okay, plus that's the value here. Okay, if you divide that by 1024, you get it in in kilobytes, and if you divide that again, you get it, in its value. Sorry, let me. I always like to make everybody see everything properly. I open my calculator here. I put that value. I divide it by 1024 to change it to kilobytes, and I divide it again by 1024 to change it to megabytes. So I get 2464. Okay, that's virtually what it is here. You have to also put in mind that it also allocates some memory for the PGA aggregate target. Okay, so this is where we are right now, and the database is not open. If there should be a query here, b dollar instance. If I say select database status, okay, from, let us see what it tells me, what the database is active or is not open. 1 minute better. Select open mode from. The database is not mounted yet, so you can't see that. We'll look at that later when we mount the database. Okay. Oh, sorry there. So this is a general view of how the instance is right now. We're going to generally, the database is not mounted. You can see it says here the database is not mounted. Okay. So this view is not available right now. I'm going to now say start up mount, alter database mount. Let me clear this thing so everybody has a better view. Alter database mount, okay. Database is now mounted, okay. Now that view should be now available. If I say select open mode from the dollar database, this is a dynamic view. It tells me that the database is what is mounted. When it's mounted, it's not open. Normally in this state, you want to do operations like Spectre 4. Okay, it now reads it mounts the database, mount. This second phase is no mount, which we just finished. What it does here, okay, database, after reading, it reads what they call the control file as defined in the SP file, okay? Now listen to me. You have the parameter called the control file that is defined in the SP file, okay? And that you can see that value actually if you just say show parameters control, okay? It will give you anything that has control in it. So we can see control file. If you read this file and get the location of where all the data files are, the control file actually stores information about the skeletal structure of the database. Okay, it tells Oracle where the reading log is located, where the data files are located, and all of that. Oracle verifies that these things are there. If those things are not correctly placed the way they are written in the control file, your database will not open. Okay, then you now have to need what they call recovery or restore. Okay, or to solve that problem one way or the other. So you have, first of all, when you run the startup, you have it starts up, it puts the database in no mount condition. Okay, it puts the database in no mount condition by reading the parameter file. After that, it now puts the database in mount mode after reading the control file parameter from the SP file. And after that, it now opens the database. Okay, so I'm going to open the database manually. Hope this thing is clear there. What I'm going to write is alter database open, okay? And when you do that and you select the mode, you notice that it has now changed from mounted to read write. That means you can now work on your database, okay? Understand that for maintenance purposes, you might want to put your database in no mount. Okay, what kind of maintenance? You want to restore your control file. Okay, if you have lost everything and you want to restore your control file, or you want to create a new data file or a new database or recreate a control file, normally what you do is to put your database in no mount mode. Okay, now when you have now restored your control file, the Oracle now reads the value of the control file to mount the database. Okay, and in the mount position, that is where restore is done. That's where operations like restore, renaming of data files, restoring data files, restoring database, all these things are done when the database is in mount mode, okay? All right? And then after that, you open your database so that it's now available to everybody. So generally, in maintenance mode, you can put your database in mount or in no mount, and it's very important to understand these things, very, very important to understand these states. Okay, as we go in the lesson, in future we're going to see these things when we're going to do things like recovery, restore. Remember, restore, recovery as one of the very vital parts of the database administrator work. You can save a company through a restore, and you can actually gain a good reputation by just making a restore. Okay, so I'm going to shut down immediately again, and I want you to understand that these commands can be done in several ways. All right. I have a table here. I hope you can see it properly. Okay, let me increase the view to larger. Uh, Hope it's not too big. Okay, better. Remember, I told you you can start off your database using the server control command or SQL plus. Okay, I'm going to use both of them in these examples. Okay, I made a mistake there. Okay, you know the mistake I made? It's better you write shut down immediate, because if there's a process in that database, it will shut down. Remember, shut down immediate if you don't want to remain there forever. Okay? At a time, shut down immediate might not work. You might have to run the shutdown abort to terminate everything and start all over. We've seen these things again and again. Some very complex databases. All right, here we go. So SQL plus 6DBA. Normally, to start up a database, you must be a 6DBA in the 6DBA group or in the 6 upper groups. I'm going to say startup first. I'm going to say startup. When you run the startup command, it passes through those phases. First of all, no mounted mode, then mount mode. You notice, first of all, it allocates memory, okay, which is the phase called no mount. After that, it goes to the mounted mode. After that, it opens the database, okay. Shut down immediate. I'm going to demonstrate that with the other command. The other command is very important because in real environmental production, in the real production world, if you have Oracle Restart installed on your database, you're advised to use the server control, okay? Server control command. When you have Oracle Restart installed. Okay. Hope it doesn't take forever to stop here. Are we there? So the database has been short. I'm going to now use, because on my server I have a grid server. I have ISM installed. I have Oracle Restart grep. Sorry. All these are processes that I've got to do with Oracle Restart. Okay. And in the later part of the lesson, I'm going to teach you how to do that. If you notice, Claire, we're dealing with that server called DBA server 1. I'm going to use the server okay. Let me see the status of the database now. Status database minus DBA server 1. Okay. It's telling me now that the database is not running. Okay, remember, you can only use this command if you have Oracle Restart installed. Okay, it's not for everybody. If you try it on a computer without Oracle Restart, it will work. Okay, I'm giving you a hint of what happens in the real world. Don't use SQL star plus to start and stop your instance if Oracle Restart is started. Now, it's not running, so I want to start it. Okay. Server control start. Also, to use this, your database must be registered with the Oracle Restart. Otherwise, it will not work. Now I've started it. Let me run the command to see the status. You can see now it's telling me that the database is running. Okay. Now I want to stop it. Now I'm going to stop the something now, and we're going to see the status will change. While it's stopping there, let me quickly. Okay, it has stopped. So let us. So the status now is not running. Okay. So normally, if something happens and your database crashes, Oracle Restart normally will start it up by itself automatically. It tries to ensure that your database is running all the time. If you restart your server, your Linux server or your Unix server crashes, when it is started automatically, Oracle Restart will start your database server for you So it's very useful tool, eh? And you can look at the configuration, config. So I will tell you how I can see all the information about my database server. Okay, the unique name, the Oracle home, the SP file. Okay, and it's telling me that it's automatic management policy, meaning that the Oracle restart will normally manage it, you know, by itself. So it's very useful tool, and these are things that you must know, very important. All right. Those of you who are going to install databases on this server, I'm going to register your database servers with Oracle Restart so that you can use this command. These are other commands that you can use, okay? You can equally no mount, use this command, do a no mount here. Okay, let me just get it a bit longer. You can start it up with no mount, okay? You can start it up with mount mode, okay? You can start it up in restricted mode. Restricted mode, when you open the database in restricted mode, maybe you want to do some maintenance. You don't want anybody else to connect to the database. You only want to connect to do some DBA work, you know? Okay, so you open your database in restricted mode, okay? You can also start it up by force, means that if your database is blocked, you can actually force the database to abort and to start up automatically. Okay, and you can also perform a recovery simultaneously with an open database command. Okay, it's rarely used, but it's possible. We just saw shutdown without knowing it, that we saw the shutdown process, isn't it? How you shut down a database. Simply run the shutdown command, and when you run the shutdown, what happens is that it dismounts the database. Okay, let me quickly give you that example. It's very important you see these things. Okay, clear. All right, SQL. I'm going to start it with Oracle. Now let me start with SQL Plus so that you're able to see the process. Right now it is not started, so I'm going to start up. While that is going on, let us go on properly to see. So server SRVCTL can actually be used to manage instances. You must know this option if you want to go to work in a big company where they employ Oracle Restart, or you have Oracle RAC, real application clusters. Okay, so like I told you, there are 3 steps. First of all, it allocates memory in the no mount zone. After that, it mounts the database after reading the control file. After that, it opens the database. If any file is missing or something, it will not open, it will give you an error. So I'm going to shut down here. Shut down immediate. Now, the difference between a shutdown immediate and a shutdown normal is that the immediate command will terminate all processes that are connected automatically and roll back any transaction that is in course. Normal will just wait for everybody to log off. So if you have some users that are logged in from another country or something, you might remain there forever. So never use the normal command shutdown without using the immediate, okay? So when you shut down, what happens is that the database is closed, is dismounted actually. It's closed, then it is now dismounted. Before it was open, but now closed. Then it was once mounted, then now dismounted. Then the instance is now deallocated, and when you do that, it now releases the memory. All this memory is now released back to your computer. The instance no longer exists, but the database exists. Okay, the database is persistent. It remains on the file on the disk. All right, isn't that wonderful? So what we've done, we've learned how you just try these commands on your own. Okay, start up no mount, start up restrict, start up force. Okay, there's also the startup open recover. They also have shutdown immediate, shutdown transactional. Very important, shutdown transactional. If you are working in a very delicate environment, and you want all transactions to finish up in a very clean manner, you don't want to cut people off, you can run the shutdown transactional command. If somebody has started a transaction, it will ensure that the transaction finishes up before it now, shuts down. But it makes sure that no new connection is admitted while the shutdown is in progress. At times it can take very long, but at times you really need to safeguard some of your transactions, particularly in the banking sector. So you use the shutdown transactional, okay? The shutdown abort normally is used when your database is stuck. At times you find situations where your database will not shut down, it will not respond. It's just there. What you can just do is to shut down abort. Okay, all this can be used also with the SRV CTL command. Okay, now this is wonderful. Along with instance management, we have to know how to modify, deal with the parameter files. Okay, now the parameter file, like I told you, is the SP file. It's actually a server parameter file. It's a binary file. It's a file that you modify from your, So I'm going to start off the database here. I'm going to use Oracle, restart. But remember, if you don't have it, just feel free to use SQL Plus. All right. So I'm going to start this database, and after starting the database, I'm going to create a text copy of the binary file, of the SP file. Okay, look at the SP file. This is the SP file that is used by this instance in this particular moment. Okay, this is where Oracle reads to allocate memory and every stuff. Now I'm going to connect to SQL Plus, and I'm going to create a P file. This is not clear here. Let me just exit and make clear the screen. All right. I'm going to create a P file is equal to P file. Okay, let's just call it P file backup. Okay. Dot. Let me put the VBA server 1. Okay. Dot aura from SP file. It's going to give me an error here. Why? Because it has to be a string. Okay. I have to put it between single quotes so that it's recognized as a string. Okay. Now, because I did not specify a location, it's going to be automatically created under the DBS directory of this file. I could create it anywhere I want. I could say create SP file. I can put it in the temp directory. Okay. Just remember just know what you are doing. So I'm going to exit here, clear. All right. And you notice here that we have a new file has been created. Now what we created was a P file, meaning I can edit it. It's a text file, okay? I can use this stuff here. Now all these things you see up here are actually parameters that are created on the fly by the server when it's starting up. Those are not the original parameters. So what I'm going to do here, I can change certain things here. I can change processes here to, let's say, 1240. Okay. I could reduce my SGAR by 200 to 2 here. Okay. You got a point? I could change the control file or add another one. I can add a second control file here. I'm going to call it 26. I'll give you a very critical test here. So show you something that will happen. These are real world scenarios. You might have to recreate maybe that location where the control file was before is no more there. You might have to put it in another location. Okay. I can change many things here if I want, I could change open cursors to 350, depending on what I want to do. And now I save this file, and I'm not going to connect to that. Let me just stop the database. I'm going to use cell control stop it. I'm stopping the database here. Database has been stopped. Now I'm going to, let me clear this stuff so I will have space here. Now I'm going to start it up. SQL Plus is not started, so I'm going to start up using a specific file. P file equal to so now it's no more going to use the default P file because I've now specified the P file I want to use, okay? You see? It gave me error with the control file. You know why? Because I put a second control file that does not exist. So what I can do is to actually copy that control file, the one that exists, to the other location, so that it will find it when we try to start it again. I'm going to show you some good commands. grep -I control from this file here. What this command here, what it does is to filter out this string from this file, okay? And it got this here, so it brings out the whole line. Any line that has control, capital or small letter, will come out as a result. So we have the control file parameter here, and I'm going to copy, because this one here already exists. So I'm going to copy this one, okay, to this one. Okay, so now we have two control files. I'm going to clear and start again. Okay, let me see whether I can get that command I used before. Okay, it's gone. Okay, let me just start up. SP files equal to, okay, sorry, I made a mistake there. So P file, okay. Oh, sorry, it mounted. Sorry, it started up in no mount. You understand my point? Are you listening? When I started it first, I started up in no mount. It allocated memory, but it could not mount the database because the control file was not correct. So I'm going to shut down again. All these things are doing are very easy. These are practical things that you find in the real world. I'm trying to demonstrate that we can start up an instance without using the default SP file. Okay, just specify it along the command. All right, here we go. Let me clear this stuff here. All right. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I understand. Immediate. I copied it when the database was open. You don't do that. It will be consistent. In the real working environment, get ready to debug, repeat and retry, re-edit. Okay, let me copy that file. All right. Oh, I didn't put the complete. Okay, clear. Copy. I put 6. I didn't put the. Okay, okay, that's correct. Okay, copy this one to this one. All right, here we go. Are we there? We're still having a problem identifying the control file. And why is that? 1 minute, please. Okay. Fast, 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 fast. Okay. Where are we? All right. Where did we go wrong here? All right, here we go. Oh, sorry. Just a little small, error. You're out. You'll be there looking for the error for the problem. I just missed a single code there. So I'm going to copy that stuff again. Hopefully it should go this time. All right, so SQL plus. Okay. I'm going to say start up p file is equal to, now I put it between quotes. So it has started up by using the p file, not the sp file. Okay. I can now create an sp file from this p file. Already, what it has used is the parameters that were in this text file, this p file. So I can now create a default from p file. Okay. So this one is now going to be different from the former sp file. It's going to overwrite the former sp file. So, okay, you know what I'm going to do? So we don't have any doubt here. I'm going to rename that sp file, the old one, I'm going to call it underscore old, all right? Then I'm going to create a new sp file. Okay, if you go and look at you notice there's a new sp file that has been created. One minute there. Where is it? Where are we? That's right. Environment. Okay. All right. Okay. Clear? I will create sp file is equal to from p file is equal to, where are we? Okay, this is the p file. Normally, I wonder where am I, Daddy? Spectre environment, clear spectre environment. We're going to now grep Oracle. I hope I'm not taking the wrong environmental variables. Okay, DB1. Okay. DBS. I wonder where it dropped that SP file. Normally, I'm supposed to put it under here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start it up and see why it is not shut down. You know what? I was with a consultant at Oracle last week, and he was telling me he has never seen anything that has been straightforward in his life. With over 20 years, he said he has never done one restore that was straightforward. There was always, you always have to turn it one way or the other. You know, there are certain things that you see that along the way that, you know, makes you wonder. So let me just try and start it, and let me see where it's going to fetch the SP file from. Prep um, grep minus I Oracle home. It's quite strange, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to find out why that happened. I'll just have to name the file. That's what it means. Start up p file equal to what is that p file? They will now create the okay. Start up p file is equal to, where are we? This one, okay. I will now look for how I will now create the SP file by naming it, you know. But it's not correct. It's supposed to exist. Alright, create SP files equal to, supposed to go created by default. You know, so we'll work that out. Create SP file. This is the latest version of Oracle in the market, so who knows, maybe from p file is equal to this. See, that's how created it. Normally, it's supposed to have created it by default. I don't know why I had to mention that, but all right, so I will just move on from there. So if you start it now, it's going to start off with that SP file. Also, I'm going to show how we can modify certain variables on the fly. I told you that you do not open the SP file to modify it with your hands. There are some variables that can be modified, you know, on the fly, meaning while your database is open. While other variables, when you modify them, you have to start your database to actually use them. Let me just start it here. Start up, then I'll show you how to demonstrate this one. Okay, clear. For instance, now we have the, I'm going to connect now, we've started. It now uses the, if you say show parameters SP file, okay, to show you where the SP file is. Normally, if you do this and it doesn't show you anything, it means that it is using a P file, okay? And you cannot modify a P file from SQL Plus. Now, I'm going to, let us see the parameters, show parameters SGA. Let us try to modify this stuff here. Use the command, let me get out of here so I have it clearer. Okay, basically the commands you use to modify a server is you connect to SQL Plus and you say alter system, okay? Set the name of the variable, name of the parameter is equal to the value, okay? Then alter system set parameter name is equal to a value, okay? No. Scope is equal to, it can be SP file or memory or both. Okay. Now this one is optional. It's optional because if you don't mention it, it defaults to memory. Okay. So, for instance, now I want to change the memory discard target. Okay. I will say alter system. I'll connect. Right now, the value of this guard target is set at 227.2. I'm going to change that. Okay, I connect. This value, I'm going to change it to 2,500. Okay, I'll say alter system set this variable is equal to 2,500. 500 M. Yeah, alter system. That's the DBA expert there. All right, so alter system set. Now let's try to see whether it will work on the fly. It cannot work on the fly, meaning that it's a parameter that has to be modified and the database has to be restarted. I can only do this to memory, to the SP file, okay? And so I can say alter system sets guard target equal to that. Then I can write scope equal to SP file, okay? Now, if the variable you are changing is a character, remember to always put it between two quotes, single quotes. The alter system, okay, sorry, set, okay. So what has happened is that this value has changed in the SP file, but it still remains the same in this active instance. When I reboot this, when I reboot it, it changes. Now there's some other parameters. If you write show parameters, what do you call it? There's some other parameters that are out there that probably you can change on the fly. You might not need to restart it. For instance, the shared pool, I think this one can be changed on the fly. But normally, what we've done is that we've left it at a value that will be managed by this gas target. Oracle dynamically manages that variable at this time. There are some other variables, for instance, now show parameters recovery. For instance, this value is not set right now, but I can set it right now on the fly. I can set it to a value that will take effect immediately and also be saved to the SP file if I want. Okay, alter system. Okay, set recovery depth. Okay, is equal to. Let us put something that is just okay, a value that is not really. We're going to remove it later. Okay, slash TMP. Okay, don't do that. You don't set values in slash TMP. Okay, if I do this, okay, it's telling me that if I do that, I have to also set this. Okay, alter system, set the size to, let me just put 10 gigabytes. Okay, and also I'll do this to this. Okay, it tells me that if I don't set this, there's no way I can set this because they go hand in hand. Okay, so if you look at the parameters now, show parameters let's say recovery. If you get anything that has got recovery in the string, it will give me those values I just put. Remember, TMP and temp. But if I reboot the database, it won't show those values anymore because I did not save it to the SP file. It's only taking effect in the memory RAM now. Okay, so you have certain parameters that can be modified on the fly while your database is open, and you have also others that have to be saved to the SP file and your database rebooted, to use those parameters. Okay, so it's very important we know these things because a database administrator will always be called upon to make changes, modify certain configurations, probably for performance. Okay, tuning. Okay, maybe you want to move the recovery destination to a faster disk, to a bigger disk. Maybe you want to increase the DB recovery file disk size. Maybe you want to increase the memory, reduce the memory. Maybe you want to add certain parameters that are not there. You normally manage this by using the alter system command. Okay, and these things actually go hand in hand with the instance. All right. You have the alter database command, which actually works on the database specifically. Those are different commands which we are going to see in future recordings. Okay, but what we've learned today is how to start a database, how to close a database instance. Okay, how to recover. How do I put it? How to change parameters in the SP file. Okay, how to create parameter files, how to create SP files. Remember that SP files are the in thing right now. You don't use parameter files anymore. You use SP files because they are more manageable. You can do backups with them, can dynamically arrange them, modify them, and they're generally more useful. Okay, so these are the basic things you need for instance management, right? And on the site, you're going to see a documentation and a video of this that's going to go into deeper depths. Okay, make sure you try these commands because they are very, very useful. They are things that you're going to find every day of your DBA life. Okay, and one last thing, I'm going to just show you something fast. Remember that you have a view called a dynamic view called a $V instance. This view is a view you're going to normally query to find out all the information you need about your instance, okay? The memory structure and all of that, okay? It will tell you whether your database is in archive lock mode. It will give you the instance number. This is very important in rack environments. It will give you the instance name, the host name. You can get all the information you want from this $V instance. It can also tell you the mode in which your instance is at the moment and all that kind of stuff. So to study this stuff, I think it's very, very important, very vital. Thank you.